Hello everyone, Kristina here with your Divine Love reading for the week of January 2nd through the 8th. Thanks for joining me and Happy New Year! And I am offering as a new thing on my website for the new year, a synchronicity journal for the whole year. And this is really going to be helpful to you if you are looking to improve your intuition and increase both the frequency and the clarity of the messages that you get from the universe as they are trying to guide you toward divine love. Also included in this, this is an instant PDF download. Also included here is a written summary of the year ahead reading, which is posted elsewhere on my channel, so you can go look that up. But it's the summary of that reading has been embedded into this diary to make it a little bit easier for you to go back and reference it throughout the year instead of having to scroll back and dig through all the rest of the videos. All right, so that's on my website. That link is down below. Also, if you would like a year ahead reading specifically for your Divine Love partnership, or any reading specifically for your Divine Love partnership, all of those are available in the links down below as well. So let's get started. It's kind of weird doing like 3 of these right back to back to back, doing like the year ahead, the month, and then here's the first week, and it's like it's a little repetitive. I'm feeling like the same messages coming out. But what's interesting in particular about this week is that I could feel the confusion, like the confusing energy kind of brewing for the monthly, and it was kind of hinted at in the year ahead. And as I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, this is a week where we really don't have our act together. It's not like we don't have our act together. It's just like we're really like spinning a lot of stuff in our heads. So let's start with the energies on our side. Currently surrounding us, we've got the Three of Forests, and that is poison ivy. And actually, it echoes one of the energy cards for the union. Poison ivy is about fear and defense and toxic situations. And it really just seems like, to have this be the current energy for the week, there's just a lot of nervous energy and kind of the wanting to keep some people at bay. If you are in a position of having let go of a lot of things we were all letting go of lots of stuff in 2016, but in the recent, as you did that life review and you mourned the things that needed to go, and now they're on their way out. But now here we are in the first week, and it's like some people are showing up in your life, and it's not totally clear if they are part of an old pattern. It's another one of the cards this week. If they're part of an old pattern or an opportunity for you to create a new pattern, like break the old pattern and create something new. The way I like to think about, when we get like lessons over and over again from the universe, it has less to do, so part of it is what you resist persists. Like if you don't learn that lesson, if you just refuse to engage, you're going to keep on getting that lesson over and over and over again until you figure it out. So if you've had, one of these people, even if you had, I remember, I think this might have been maybe 4 years ago. I remember getting a lesson or having a person show up in my life who was like the epitome of the old pattern, and I recognized it right away and was like, nope. And like didn't even look back. Like there was no like angst or anguish over, gosh, did I do that? No, it was none of that. It was just like, oh, I recognize this, and this is not something I want anymore. And so it was very easy to push it right on out that door. And it never came back. It was that easy. And it's like once you feel like you've learned a lesson, then the universe will bring you a little test that's like, okay, well, did you really learn it? And so they'll kind of up the stakes a little bit. Okay, so fast forward. There's, if there are, to this week, if you've got people who are showing up in your life and you are looking at them going, oh, have I seen this before? Is this something? Especially because we just finished that huge life review. This Three of Forests is about you know, building, I think there is just like a little bit of fear and frustration in there, like the toxicity of what, okay, so there's the toxicity of what the past pattern was, but there's also this like a little bit of fear and a little bit of defense, you know, a little bit of like putting up barriers, or boundaries, not barriers, boundaries, because boundaries are healthy. Barriers are something else. But it's about, you know, figuring out and recognizing those situations for what they are, and then either breaking the pattern or building a new one. Also, look at all this green. This is all heart chakra stuff. So, as you're thinking about, well, what is this? You know, what is this old pattern related to? It's about matters of the heart. I mean, these are divine love readings after all, but really overtly, this is like heart chakra stuff. And the advice for the week, I mean, the cards this week are telling a pretty coherent story, like it's a very tight story. Even though the energy of what it is, like the story that they're telling, is one that is about like people kind of being pushed and pulled toward different things, and really trying so hard to make the fresh start that the new year promises. Okay, now the energies pulling us out of alignment with divine love, we have the Eight of Deserts. This is fast movement, and this really actually feels like, so this is interesting. When it's laying on the table, it's running away from the union. As I'm showing it to you, it's running toward the partner. And they pointed that out to me because I need to tell you that. Like, the thing that actually draws you out of divine love is any impulse you have to go running over to them. It just seems, you know, if you watch the monthly, both partners are having a real process about each other and about like what relationships are, and, you know, how do they envision themselves like living inside of a relationship with another person, like in a way that's healthy and safe. And this card, it's this running and the not sitting and being still and contemplating. That's the thing that draws us out of alignment with divine love. So it's not, you know, it feels like maybe last year was so much about just energy going and going and going that way, that it, you know, once that dynamic is gone or changed, it's like that energy has to go somewhere. And so what they're saying right now is, as advice, to put that back into you. Okay. And, you know, it's so weird. The monthly is starting to bleed into this one, but one of the cards in the monthly was the soul card, and it was about the two partners looking at their different sections of sky. This is about just tend to your section of sky. Okay, so that you can tell your partner about it later. All right, so no running. This is not the frantic energy. Frantic energy has no place this month. It's the thing that draws you out, which is not to say that there can't be deliberate energy. You can still be making moves and motion, but the franticness needs to be pulled out of it. Okay, they say I'm done. All right. Now, drawing us toward divine love is the sun. I love this sunflower. And, you know, it just feels like if this is frantic, this is just standing and shining our light and being totally confident. This is the solar plexus, totally confident in our light shining to everywhere it needs to reach. Okay? And that is what that's the thing, that's the way of being that keeps us in alignment with divine love. And so I like, if you look at the progression of these three cards, it's like right now we're in this nervous boundary making space. When we're not operating at the optimal levels, then we are kind of running and frantic. But when we are like really in alignment, it's like, no, we just stand. We've got our roots, we stand and we shine. And that's all we have to do. Okay, so this is actually a pretty that's a pretty clear message about, you know, find your serenity in there. And you know what? And create some boundaries around yourself so that you can have that serene space. All right? That's all. Okay, so the masculine and feminine energies on our side that are trying to guide us and come into balance. We have Cernunnos and Hathor. Okay, so Cernunnos has as his keywords shape-shifting. He also he's a Celtic god who wears the horns and antlers of a stag. In this, he's got a snake. I'll tell you, like, it's not about that. It actually is about the shape-shifting. And then the feminine energy is Hathor, and even though oh, okay, so I just got another little lightning bolt on it. So her keyword is contentment. And so that's an echo of these two energies, well, and really more of this sunflower energy. And Cernunnos is a bit of this kind of, it's the transformation. This is the kind of transformation, but it's deliberate transformation. So it's not death card transformation. It's like deliberate, purposeful. I change myself into this. Like this is, you know, this is the kind of forest that I would like to be living in and tending to. And so you make those changes, and there's that kind of shape-shifting going on. But together, what I really felt that is coming in, so here's the thing. This isn't for everybody, but it does seem to be for a few people who are watching. Like, God, I mean, almost up to a third, they're saying, of the audience, okay? Hathor is pregnant here, and she is, it seems that some of you are having to confront some ideas, some long-held ideas that you've had about being a parent, having children. That's what the shape-shifting is about. So, wow, that's a big old hunkin' thing to be like experiencing a change of thought pattern about. Some of you may have thought, wow, that's just not for me. It hasn't happened yet, so it's not going to happen ever. And you're perfectly happy about that. And these two cards are like, I wouldn't be so sure. It seems like some of you are starting to kind of question this a little bit. And it's not like questioning like, now I really want one. You're like, now I really want a baby. This is more like, if this happened, like you would embrace it. Okay. It doesn't feel as far, it doesn't feel like it swings as far as like chasing after it. Like now I must have a child. It just seems like, you're just having a little bit of introspection about like, what happens if, you know, like what happens if my partner wants to have a baby and I decided I didn't want to? Well, like this, I can feel this just like on my back right now. So this is a pretty heavy, and it's heavy on my back right now because what they want me to say to you is that it's not, don't be flippant about tossing this around in your mind. Yeah, almost, wow. Okay, almost, because as soon as you kind of open the door up here for it and here, like in your heart for it, you better be real careful. And I'm even saying like, oh, you better be real careful, but it kind of even doesn't matter. Like I'm even thinking of one of my friends who both of her children were the product of, not even oops, like she's diligent about, you know, her birth control, and both of those kids were like, yeah, your birth control is a funny little joke, but we're coming in, like we're coming in. So this is really, that's why I'm saying it's heavy on my back, because I can feel it. I can feel it for you guys. For the small, it seems like it's a smaller portion of the audience. Like I said, about a third. Like a third is actually kind of large, but it's not the whole audience. This isn't for everybody. There's just a few people out there who needed to hear this. Like if you're going to start entertaining this, you need to be very clear-eyed and clear-minded about about what that means if you're going to try to change your position about this. Wow. That was a hell of a message to be delivering. All right, so let's move over to their side. They have, in their current energies, the Ace of Skies. And, we're in a new year. That's a new beginning. This is skies and swords in traditional tarot. This feather, this is about truth. This is about coming to a new sense of truth and honesty with themselves. And actually, feathers, to the extent that feathers are one of these like synchronicities that we can often encounter, when you find a feather, this is when your guides are around you, or if it's, somebody who's recently passed, then they'll be coming in. And it's like it seems like they might be having their own little, they're getting real clear with themselves about like any of their little like nagging truths or nagging emotions and feelings. Like I said, we're like both sides are having a process about each other all month and about relationships all month. And it seems that this week they decide to look with clear eyes at their truth and kind of, have that, oh God, okay, hold on. I'm listening. They are having a real epiphany about, I want this. Like, I want this in my life. And the this that they're talking about is, holy crap, it's you. I mean, it's a relationship with you. It is, I was looking at these cards before I sat down to do this, and I am really getting, and I was like, all right, I'm going to knock this reading out real quick. And I am really like feeling all of this energy coming through me. And, this felt like a lot of weight. This feels a little, this is different. It's still, it's an intense energy. It feels serious. That's what I'm trying to say. This one feels, it's serious. This is a different kind of serious, because it's like, what are you really taking on, and what stuff needs to be dismantled around what you think about parenting and families and things like that. And this is a different thing altogether. This is like the kind of epiphany that throws you back against the wall. Like, holy crap, I think this is what I think about these things, so your counterpart is having this going on right now this week. And you know what? I don't mean to be flippant, but good for them. I just need to change up the energy a little bit, because that was like 2 whole sections of just like heaviness. No, but this is lightness too. I mean, even though they're having like this real heavy epiphany about like, wow, I really want this. What this is this light love stuff. Like, oh, I want joy in my life. They are deciding that they want joy in their lives, and they understand that you are a person who brings that. That's fantastic. I don't even want to talk about that anymore. Let's go ahead and look at what's drawing them out of alignment, because it's even, this isn't even, it's not that bad, but it is obviously a problem. So drawing them out of alignment is the Eight of Farms, and you would think that this would be something that's positive, but in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, this is the equivalent of the Eight of Pentacles, and the Eight of Pentacles is about like it's like deliberate, steady effort to get really good at something. And what's interesting is that their masculine energy in their God and Titan card is echoes this almost like verbatim. Okay, so this is about their striving and their need to be perfect. When they strive for perfection, that pulls them out of alignment with divine love, because what they figured out is like, I want this joy in my life, and I want it with that person. I want it with that, they want it with you. And then they do this like dumb, illogical thing about like, so now I better start working on myself and I'd better be perfect, otherwise I don't deserve it. And that's their old wound talking, the not deserving. So, you know, it's like, God love you for putting in the effort, but gosh, it's just so misdirected. So that feeling like they have to have everything perfect and just right, it pulls them out of alignment. And, you know, in some cases, it's even, they might even look at you and go, wow, they're not perfect in this way. And it's not because you need to live up to some kind of dumb, you know, standard of perfection. It's that for them, it's a convenient excuse to be like, well, they're not perfect, so they must not be it. Right? Like, it's just, they're doing a lot of dismantling. And, if you watch the yearly, you'll see that they were doing that. But like these two together, it's like they have this epiphany, this truth about like, I want this, and then they're like, okay, so I better work on it. I better get myself ready for it. And what is actually drawing them toward union and toward divine love is like the better effort. Like this is not the way you should be expending your let me get ready for that energy. It's more like, so go dive in to that sea of emotions that is going to come with this relationship, but that is also just your own turmoil and all of your stuff. And you know, and this almost, if you watch the monthly, this is that an echo of their side, about them having to, you know, even though they need a little bit of a break and a rest from it, you know, drawing them toward union is to become a master of their emotions. And not because they control them, but because they're not afraid of them. They're not afraid to jump directly down into the depths, like this king is doing. So this is also still, it's still promising. Oh, well, I mean, obviously it's promising. It's the thing that's drawing them closer to union. Also, but what I really want to look at or to show you is, you know, on our side, it's all heart chakra green. Their side is this blue. It's the throat chakra blue that's combined with the sea of emotions, which is, you know, also held in the heart chakra. So there's a little bit of connecting across on these two cards. Same with the sun. What I really like about the sun card is that this is the blue of the sky is the throat. This is the solar plexus, and then the green of the leaves are the heart chakra, kind of connecting them all together. And so, you know, this was the energy that draws us closer to union, just kind of standing and shining. And they're getting to a place of like, okay, what we needed was to like, yeah, I'm just going to stand and shine and do my thing, and everything that's meant for me will come to me. And they are doing oh, you know what, I think I'm going to address all this emotional stuff. Okay. And again, if you watch the monthly, they're having a little bit of a process, like balancing out like their need to rest from that, from the intensity of it, and the actual doing of the work. So they're masculine and feminine energies that are balancing out and trying to come in and guiding them. Their masculine is another Celtic god. It's Nuada, and his keyword is perfection. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. This is a Celtic god. He was, I think he's a king. So the story goes, he was this king like of the ancient world, and he was benevolent and kind and just as a king. I mean, he just cared so much about you know, the people in his charge. And then they had to go to battle with these other peoples, and so he fought valiantly, and they won the battle, and he also lost his hand in the battle. And unfortunately, the ancient law of that time said that the king had to be whole and had to be basically had to be perfect in order to remain king. And so because he had lost his hand, he couldn't be king anymore. So they install a new king, and then that guy's an asshole. I mean, you know, he's mean, he's cruel, he's all the things that you know that like crappy leaders are. And so the lesson of his story is about perfection. And it's like, well, what's important to you? This whole perfection thing is really silly. And if there's something, if you're going to throw something out because it's not perfect, if you're going to chase after a certain kind of perfection, so now you have this, like, it's like, you know what? And it's pretty picture stuff. That's a little holdover from last month of theirs. This is about, look at these beautiful vegetables. When they are chasing perfection, they pull themselves out of alignment with divine love, because it's like, no, love is the thing that it's like, love is perfect, and you are perfect in your flaws, or like in the things that make you unique and different, and the completely messy and totally specific combination of all of your wounds and talents at the same time. Okay, so that's one side that's trying to find some balance. And what I really love, though, as the feminine that's trying to balance this out is, oh gosh, this is gonna be another time I can't pronounce it. Andromache. Okay. So her keyword is strength, but I love that it's the feminine. And typically, even though she's shown as a warrior here, typically the feminine is associated with emotions. And so this is about, and then this is the king. So these two together are telling a story about, the feminine energies that draw him closer, are about having the strength and the courage to dive into, like, emotional stuff, right? And the stuff that draws them out is when they chase perfection. So, like I said, like, that was a pretty tight narrative that set of cards is telling. Let's go ahead and move on now to the energies of the soul union, or excuse me, just the union itself, the energies, and two cards came out, and I think that they are pretty on. So the first one is fear. We've, on our side, we have this card, which is really, it conjures up a little bit of fear. Their side, they're having to kind of muster some courage to be able to jump into the deep end. So this, as we're in this weekly, doing the weekly readings, it's kind of clarifying some of that confused energy that's going on in the monthly and the year ahead. There's a lot of fear involved with having that epiphany and going, oh, and then turning toward it and walking toward it, instead of going like, that's an inconvenient and uncomfortable truth, I shall run away. They're not doing that anymore. They don't want to do that. They decided, okay, I'll jump in. Okay, so this is a lot of, like, overcoming. So it's the big yellow here, but I like this the pink orb up here. And it's like, these two are trying so hard to sort of combat this. In some ways, it's like a wonky solar plexus chakra, but it's just like this fear, this ball of fear that they're holding. It's like love wants to come in and go, no. Don't be silly. Like, all this stuff you're conjuring up as fear is totally, is powerless. It's not more powerful than love. If you can come back to that. And then the other card is dreams. And I can tell you, I already had a dream last night, and but it seems like a lot of the, if you watched the monthly, there's a little bit of tension around, like, 3D communication, and it seems like this card is saying most of the stuff between you guys is getting worked out in that 5D dream space. So even the fear stuff, even the stuff that makes us afraid, they're doing a lot of, it's not because we're meeting up in dreams, it's just like everybody's doing a ton of dream work around this stuff that kind of scares us. And if you are one of the people with the pregnancy stuff, Yeah, it's like confront. This one is about confronting your fears about what it means to have a baby to and like to raise one, not the making of one, because that's fun. Everybody does that. Like everybody can manage that, but they're not great at what happens after. And then also the ways that when you make a child with somebody, that bonds you to them. Um, you know, one way or another, it creates a bond for the rest of your life, even if the child is given up for adoption, or the parent is not in the picture. It doesn't matter. The fact is, like, there's an energetic bond there, and it will, even in the absence, it will be felt as an energetic absence. And yeah, this is, I'm really getting the energy. See, I can feel it in my back again. Go ahead and do your meditation and think this one through, and think about, like, or just, it's not even about think it through and like come to some new conclusion, but just be aware of how your thoughts about this are evolving, and as they change, that even those changes don't necessarily have to fill you full of dread and fear. Okay. All right. Now at the soul level, so soul card. This is so fascinating. So look at this, you guys. Let me see if you can see it. Look at that. Okay, so we have this figure here, but I love these diagrams. And if you're a person for whom the twin flame language and narrative are really central, these triangles are like each partner, and then the top of the triangle is spirit. But what I love is like how all of these different triangles are interconnected. I also like, it feels like it's the depiction of what a divine plan and being divinely organized means, like what it looks like underneath. And so this is so interesting that I love that it's not showing, sorry, I was sitting on my leg. It's not showing like two partners or even one partner and what they're doing. Like this one feels like spirit. It feels like whoever's in charge and working out the diagrams, and in some ways it's like, okay, so if there's like kind of the divine overseer, however you want to conceive of that, and they're kind of looking at the diagram, the blueprint even, each partner is also on their own looking at their own personal blueprints and going, I really thought I knew what I wanted about this, or I am finally ready to recognize this truth about myself, and now I'm going to set out on the planning to get here. That's pretty big and pretty wonderful. And looking now at the advice for the week, holy smokes. Okay, so it says, look at your pattern in relationships. It requires inner strength to recognize that you need to change or modify your behavior. And could this wrap up and encapsulate the whole reading more perfectly? I mean, it's like, look at the patterns. Okay, so here's the patterns. It's the old stuff coming, old patterns presenting themselves in a new, slightly different way. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. So there's a feminine character down here, and then she's being shown this mirror, and there's a little baby. I'm not kidding you guys, there's a little baby in there. All right, so even in the imagery, it's still coming up. So some of you really, sorry guys, like you're gonna have to give this some thought. Like spend time with it. Or maybe, even some of you are resistant, but I don't think that a bunch of you who, you're not that resistant. You're already recognizing, yeah, I already kind of started thinking about that, and that's so weird. And so you have a little bit of fear and trepidation around that. On their side, this last line about it requires inner strength to recognize that you need to change or modify your behavior. You know, that is their, that's this, that's this. They know. They've figured it out. You know, it's this. So they are confronting this truth about themselves. And actually, you know, both partners are doing this. Like on both sides, we're confronting some old patterns, no matter what they are about. Like whether it's our relationships, friendships, or just, you know, our relationships with ourselves, like who we think we are in the world. We're really, you know, this is a week where energy would be well spent on looking at the ways that you have broken some of your old patterns, the ways those old patterns might be presenting themselves anew in different forms than you've recognized before, and figuring out how you want to rewrite that pattern. I mean, it's patterns. It's like, this is a real, wow, this is exciting. Okay, I just got like this is a big week, you know, well, and it's, you know, New Year's, so this is, the energy is kind of with it, you know, of, yeah, let me take a look at this and let me figure out how do I want to create the new designs, the new plans, the new architecture. What do I want the new architecture of my life to be? And so at this stage, it's not the, and actually they're telling me to come back to this. So drawing us out of alignment, they're saying like, you don't need to start like go full bore on the execution of the plans. Just look at it. Just look at everything and start the planning process. This is going to take a little while, and you know, it might actually even take you all month. This feels right now like something that will spill over beyond the 1 week that the reading covers, but this is an energy that, gosh, this is kind of exciting. This is big, important stuff. So, yeah. Okay, so that does it for this week's reading. I hope that you found that helpful, and I found some actionable stuff to do there, particularly like the January readings, like the monthly and the year ahead, both kind of had the everything's fine, you know, and I feel like this week we got something that's a little bit more tangible as far as like, yeah, fine, how? Okay, but what am I supposed to do? You know, like it just gives us a little bit more detail about kind of what we're doing. Okay, so with that, I will just remind you one more time about that synchronicity journal. Help you to strengthen and increase the frequency of the signs that you receive from the universe. And that's it. Anything else you need, links down below. See you next week.